Welcome back. If you just joined us, you're watching KTN Prime. And as we promised, as we begin the news, or rather began the news bulletin earlier on, tonight we have in studio Ruth Odinga, the Member of Parliament and County Women Representative for Kisumu County. And a little bit about her is she was the first Deputy Governor for Kisumu County from 2013 to 2017. She is also a member of the Orange Democratic Movement, that's ODM party.
Thank you.
How are you doing, Ruth?
I'm doing fine.
I'm happy to see you in our studio today.
Thank you very much, and I'm happy to be here too.
Especially at a time when we're seeing a lot happening in the Orange Democratic Party. Before we even go to the wrangles and the infighting, I just want to hear from you, Ruth. What do you make of the current political landscape? All the defections, alignments we're seeing. What do you feel about them right now?
First of all, let me say, greet the viewers. And after greeting the viewers and to let you know that I'm Honorable but also Her Excellency Ruth Odinga, first woman, one of the first women to vie for governorship in the country, and I think it's important to state that, and won an election, but had to step down to become a deputy governor. So that is something I always want to state before I even begin to talk. And then I come to the question. And your question is, how do I see the political situation in Kenya right now? In regards to Kenya as a whole, or to my
just
party?
Just the political landscape. We're seeing a lot of defections, a lot of alignments. But we'll come back to that. Let's talk about the Orange Democratic Party, Ruth. There's a lot of infighting that we have witnessed in the recent weeks. We are seeing cracks within the party, allegations of where the cracks are coming from. But being a member of the Orange Democratic Party, what do you make of the cracks within the ODM party right now?
Thank you very much. What I would like to start off by saying is that the Orange Democratic Party is actually is not actually a party, it's actually a movement. The Orange Democratic Party is a movement, Orange Democratic Movement, and that actually distinctly brings us away from just a normal party that are formed purely on ethnic grounds, that are formed out of maybe winning an election. But this is a movement, and it is a party that is made for the people, of the people, and by the people. So it is a very distinct party. And so, therefore, it makes it very unique as a party. You know, out of that, it means that when you're talking about Orange Democratic Party, you're talking about a party that is actually embracing the people. It's a people-centric party. It's not a party that you talk about and you say that individuals that are running the party, and it's a party that is being run and people must listen and adhere and stand by. It's a party that has been made by the people of Kenya to serve the needs of the Kenyans. That's why you see it coming out as a party that has the people at the apex. The people are actually what matters in this party. First of all, they are the ones that run this party, they're the ones who form this party, and that's why you see a lot of passion in this party. It also has, therefore, it has a lot of diversity and divergence. So when you talk about cracks, for me, I would not talk about us having cracks. We have divergence of views. We have a lot of wangles right now. And remember that we've just lost our party founder and leader. And that is very traumatic in any home, in anywhere you go. When you lose the party leader or the person who is in charge of the home, there must always be that trauma, that jostling and finding your own way, especially, as you know, losing Raila Odinga was not easy, not only for ODM, but for Kenya as a country.
You say there's a leadership vacuum that has been left by the passing of your brother, Raila Odinga?
It's not I would not, of course, Raila Odinga was larger than life. Yeah, that one, I think, is a leadership, not for ODM only, for the whole of Kenya. because there's a glue that Raila had that made Kenya what Kenya was. And he shaped a lot of our politics, and that we cannot run away from. But even then, as a party, we as the ODM family, did really rely on him. None of us, and I think it was a big shock that we thought that he was going away. So, you know, that plan of saying we have the will and we know that it's going to be this and that and the other in the party, we didn't have that. So, obviously, we must come to that reality. Not that there's a vacuum, but how do we then get ourselves together as a family to say that so and so, you've now taken the mantle, this is how it should be run. So it's not that there's a vacuum, it's just that everybody is jostling. And this is a big party, so there must be that kind of jostling up and down.
The late Raila Odinga was seen as the glue keeping the ODM party together. I know you'd like to say that, you know, there's no factions, there's no particular crack within the ODM party, but yet we're seeing members who are having, yes, divergent views, and this means they're not in agreement. Isn't that cracks within the party, Ruth?
I want to ask you, before he passed away, don't you think we had those divergent views? And actually, we did have them. And that's why you even had a boss that's talking about the term "who told you?" And you've had it on the whatever, because already there were those divergent views, and he knew how he was talking about them, and he even said that when he goes out, when he comes back, we will go for a retreat, so that the whole party comes back together on those divergent views. And those divergent views are the views that actually makes this party.
What makes these views so pronounced now? Because, like you say, the late Raila Odinga was more than just a leader for the country, but also a leader for the ODM, the Orange Democratic Movement. But when we look at what is happening now, you're saying these divergent views were there previously. But why do they feel so pronounced right now?
That's what I talked to you about. That in any party, when you have gotten your leader out, anywhere, there will be that, seem to be that crack. But what I believe in is that whatever is happening is that it's just the divergent views of different sections of our party. And for me, what I would say is that it would be very great if we as a party would come together and sit together and say that, yes, this is different ideologies. Everybody's coming up with their different ideologies. But if we can then be given time, to sit down as a party and bring these divergent views together so that we can be able to then form ourselves, be strong. I come from the group that says we must stay together. And I have been saying this from the word go, even when my brother died, that we must remain united and we must stay together as a party. We must not go on the different divergent trajectory to the point that we are so divergent that we can't come back together. I still believe that ODM stands on the ideology that we believe in the social democracy and the freedom of people to be able to express their views. So when you have that you can express your views, you must let people be able to have different views and divergent. ODM is a big party. And ODM is a national unit. We have every cultural group is a national party. So you cannot expect us to be, but we have our values. When you sit down and you say, what are the values, what are the ethos, what brings ODM together? And then we talk about it. That means that, therefore, we cannot say that these divergent views means there's a big crack in the party.
So you're saying that there is no crack within
There is
Orange.
a crack,
yes,
but the crack is not supposed to be something that is outside the party. There is this crack that is saying that, we are saying that this is 1 term, 2 term, and I'm saying we don't even need to go there as 1 term, 2 term, because that's not part of what we talk about as ODM. What is the ODM values? What does ODM want? What do we need to do as ODM?
Ruth, I look at your family. We've seen your brother, Dr. Oburu Oginga, having different sentiments, regarding the way the party should be moving. We've also seen you coming out strongly, supporting the Secretary General, Edwin Sifuna. And of course, we've seen Winnie also just having some sort of divergent views, as you call them, that are standing against Dr. Oburu's views. What do you feel about how your family is right now in terms of views of the future of the party and where you stand about the wrangles?
I would like to ask to, first of all, talk about my party and where we come from as a party before you thrust me in to the issue of the family, because I will talk about the family, but before we talk about the party and what does the party stand for, because that will also inform what I'm going to talk about my family. I don't think the family, it should be the first thing that we talk about. First of all,
the reason why I'm asking that one, Ruth, is because as much as we're seeing divergent views within the party, we've also seen them trickle down to your family.
Are you trying to say that ODM is just a family
No,
party?
not exactly.
Yeah,
no.
So because of that, can I be able to get the chance to talk about ODM and what ODM stands for, which I believe also informs what we are seeing right now? Because the values of ODM and the ethos and what we stand for as a party is really important, because you remember that this party was formed because of the people. And that's really a key thing for me, because where we are divergent and where I diverge from most of the people is where we now forget about people and start looking at our own selfish or maybe needs for this party. And therefore, that's where you see people coming in with extremisms, where people talk about, what do you call, two-term, one-term, Linda Ground, Linda Wananchi, and all that. And they're forgetting that what is ODM stand, what does ODM stand for? Because that, to me, is what the party leader, Ruth Odinga, and the founder of the party, was really looking at. Remember that Orange Democratic Party was started on the ethos of the European movement of Orange movement, and that was for the people to be able to have their own space of being able to express themselves and then having legitimate elections and all that. And that is what we really stand for. And for me, it's a very key point. So I want to tell you very expressly that ODM as a party is not keen on all this one-term, two-term leader. You're leadering Wananchi and you're leadering ground. What is the difference? Because you cannot lead a ground without Wananchi. And you cannot lead a Wananchi without a ground, because Wananchi is the ground. So even when you look at all these new fashions or groupings that they're bringing in and diverting from what ODM is about, then this is what is causing the chaos in this party. We need to bring ourselves back and remember that ODM is a party which stands for, our slogan is Tuko Tayari. Yeah? And then our symbol is chungwa, maisha bora, and then our color is orange, not yellow, green, brown, orange, and what have you. And when we go back to getting ourselves sensibly into what Orange Democratic Party and movement is and the values of this party and what it stood for and the people, we are going to lose sight. And that's where I come from, that first of all, we are for the people. Who is talking about the people and who is looking at what the people want? You understand? So when you come to that, then you now start to asking me all these questions. And I tell you, all these divergent views, who is actually looking at the values, the constitution, and the tenet of where ODM comes from? Then that is a person I would say, this is a person who is talking about ODM. So but at the moment, when you tell me two-term, what are you talking about two-term? But also if you're very extreme on your one-term, what do you mean one-term? One-term is not what ODM is about. ODM is about you telling me what you think that the people want and what the people actually tell you they want. And that's where you're seeing the cry of the people. Yeah? Where are we in this ODM? We are the people who want ODM.
Ruth, in last week's rally in Kitengela, we saw quite a huge turnout of supporters of the Linda Wananchi rally.
Yes.
And of course, comparing that to the Mombasa rally, the turn-up was actually not that.
Was it not?
It was not as much as what we saw in Kitengela.
Yeah.
Just visually, you could see that.
Yes.
Even as you say that there's values within the ODM party, it's clear that even supporters have been taken into these divergent views.
Yeah.
And as much as we have the values existing, what are we saying then?
I'm just telling you that if there's that divergence and you're looking at it and you are looking at the perception of the people, we are perceiving what the people are saying, it shows you where we are looking at what is the people saying. Is it people are talking about the Kitengela, they're saying we as in the Kitengela, and those are the people, you understand? And the people of Tononoka are also talking, you understand? And you saw what was happening. So for me, I'll still tell you that who is actually talking about the values of the party and who is the people talking about, who do the people want. You understand me? You get where I'm coming from? That it is about the people. So for me, I will go with who the people want. And I'm very clear about that.
Ruth, as far as your Secretary General, Edwin Sifuna, has been in what has appeared to be a bit of trouble, to attempted ousting of him from the seat, and of course him coming out strongly with some members of the party saying he remains the Secretary General of the party. Where do you stand as far as Edwin Sifuna's position as Secretary General is concerned?
I was very clear when Edwin Sifuna I sit in the neck of the party, and I'm very clear, and I say that Edwin Sifuna has been speaking his mind, and if you would have allowed me to have talked to you about what ODM is about, I would have been able to reach the point.
We'll come back to that, but meanwhile,
I'm just saying to you
question.
that Edwin Sifuna had his right, and he's actually the Secretary General. And if there's any issues about discipline and all about Edwin Sifuna, he should have also been given the rights to have said his own. Even in Shakahola, we had the Shakahola and we had the people who were accused. They were given a chance to also speak. So for me, I'm very clear on the Edwin Sifuna issue, that Edwin Sifuna should go through the process of the party, because this is a party that has got structures. We've got disciplinary system, we've got arbitration, we've got mediation, and that is where I am coming from, that we need to sit down and go through our processes of mediation. And that, to me, is where you come back to you on the fact of the cracks that you talked about. Because I believe that there's one faction that is talking about going off, and that they're saying that the party is leaving the ethos that they have, and the other one that believes that we should go on with the talks and have our two-term and join the other and join with the present government and see a future with that. Now, I am saying that let's come back together and let's form an arbitration and let's form a mediation committee, because even the party leader, Raila Odinga, used to be a mediator. And you all know, he's a mediator throughout Africa. Yeah, he's done it in Congo with Shekedi. He did it in Ivory Coast. He did it in so many countries, I think Sudan, South Sudan. So why don't we have that arbitration in the country so that we can do our own inner house? And I believe if we are left alone as ODM and we were given that time to have that arbitration, we could be able to come together. Because what even Edwin Sifuna was talking about, probably in his age and his gap, and that's why we will come back to what we call intergenerational or gap that we talked about in ODM. He might have been saying what you see is resonating with the young people and the youth and the Gen Zs of the country. But also the other groups should have been able to say that let's listen also to Edwin Sifuna. Yes, they feel that there were some disciplinary issues, but did we follow the process to take him out? So for me, on that issue, I was very clear that I think that we should have exhausted all the structures, and ODM has got the best structures. We have got the structures in place that could have We should have yesterday before talking
so
about.
Ruth, let's say as the ODM party, you decide to go through the arbitration process, as you say, that his attempted ouster was not done through due process, as you say, using party values and structures and processes. But I just want to hear from you, Ruth, personally as Ruth. What do you make of Edwin Sifuna's conduct? Do you think he deserves any disciplinary action, if any? What are your thoughts about his conduct within the party in the recent weeks or months?
For me, as Ruth Odinga, and I don't think you should ask me about that because I'm actually a member of the executive of the party, is that Edwin Sifuna, like everybody else, has a right to speak out, and that is one of the systems of our country. But if he says something which the party feels is not is contrary to what the party ethos are, because there are things that him as Sifuna can say as Sifuna, but there's something that when the party has taken a decision on, and they probably think that that one he should not be able to say contrary because he's the Secretary General. You know, there's a difference between being a Secretary General and a spokesperson for the party and you as an individual speaking your own mind. Because you can have your own mind as an individual. Like me, Ruth, I have my own mind. Whether it's on 1 term or 2 term, I do have my own opinion. But then as the organizing secretary of the party of ODM, I am not allowed to come out to say that this is the decision we made and we agreed on it, and then now I'm changing and saying that although I agreed on it, I didn't whatever. So those are the things that the party is saying. He has to differentiate on that, on the other. But on his own as ODM, as Sifuna, I do say that Sifuna, as a person, has got his own strong mind, and he's also got the voice of the young people, he's got the voice of a lot of Kenyans, and as a party, it's welcomed. It's welcome for him to have that. I
want to hear from you clearly, Ruth, even as Member of Parliament and as a member of the Orange Democratic Movement. Do you feel that Edwin Sifuna has in any way spoken against anything that contradicts the ethos of the party?
No, I don't think that he has done that. On my own as Ruth Odinga, I support Edwin Sifuna in many cases of what he does. But what the party feels is a different thing, and I don't think that I'm a spokesman of the party tonight.
But as a member of the party, what do you feel about this?
But I would want to tell you that I am one of the people who who opposed his removal. So that should in itself be an answer to you. I opposed that removal of him and thought that due process and his reasons should have been brought, and also the party should have had the due process. So by me refusing and dissenting for his removal, that should be the answer you need.
All right.
Yeah. And because I did refuse.
Indeed, and we did hear you, Ruth, but I just needed that to come out clearly.
No, it's very clear, but it's not, I don't think it's about me now. I think we should talk about the party because we have so many pertinent issues that I would like to talk about. Because I think that we're even talking about Sifuna or talking about my brother, the party leader, and the whole thing is actually deflecting us from some of the very important issues that we need to follow. Because as we are speaking right now, we have got timelines that we need to follow. We have issues of the IEBC Act. We have issues of the Election Act. And these are time-bound issues that need to be talked about. Boundary reviews, you know, and all the issues that follow it, like even these systems that we are having right now. The famous one is which one? For our elections. So if we do not discuss these issues about the elections right now, and I believe there's a very concerted effort to keep Kenya and us in a campaign mode, so that we continue going this way and let everything get time-barred, and we don't get. And ODM has been one of the parties that always talks about some of these issues. We are always on point on how we talk. Even right now, we are supposed to be talking about our manifesto for the next election. We're supposed to be talking about when we are saying the boundaries review, the register of the IBC, because if you don't talk about them now, they're going to get time-bound.
So you feel perhaps the party is being misdirected, or rather directed to things that do not really matter to the party right now.
Yeah.
But Ruth, let's talk about the broad-based government. One of the key issues that, the Secretary General for ODM, Edwin Sifuna, has been very vocal about is against the broad-based government. ODM being incorporated within a pre-election pact with UDA. Yeah. And that coming up very strongly as one of the key issues that he has been very vocal about has led him to fall into some of the members' bad books. What do you feel about the pre-election pact between the ODM party?
I feel it's very premature. I feel it's very premature for us to have that pact. And as something I've consistently said from the word go, reasons being that I feel that we really need to get our house in order as ODM, so that when we even go, you cannot go to any arrangement or pre-arrangement as a party. And ODM is the biggest party we have right now, which cuts across the whole country. So why would we want to go into any pre-election pact so hurriedly when we have not even done even some of the MOUs we put in place, like the 10-point agenda, that we said we wanted to be, which our party leader had said we needed to do, has not been done. And one of them, very well, like let's say the freedom of assembly. Yeah, right now, so I'm speaking to you. What happened in Kitengela? Why was there any tear gassing and a death? Yeah. And those are the things we talked about in it, and so for me, if even these ones have not been done and tackled at the 10-point agenda, why are we rushing into having a pact? I am not talking about saying that I'm against us having any pact with whoever we will feel we are able to have a pact with, or even going it alone. But what I'm saying is that, to me, what is the biggest agenda right now? How do we, leave ODM alone, so that we can be able to, first of all, get ourselves together, bring all these warring factions back together, and it's not the first time. It's not the first time that ODM is having these wangles. Actually, we are used to it because of the diversity of the party, the divergent views. We always have that kind of wangle. You remember now, maybe you can't remember because maybe I don't know whether you were there at that time.
Maybe I was.
Yeah,
tell me.
No, but maybe you've read about it. When we even had the 207, after the 207, the 208, when we even had, 207 was the most difficult time. Yeah? And yet, after that, we even had the 208. In 208, we had Pentagon. And in the Pentagon is when we had all our leaders. And they were all looking for spaces, including the president that we have today. He was there with the Honorable Mudavadi, and they both wanted to become the deputy premiers of the party and in that coalition. And they had to fight for the whatever, but the mediation was brought in. And then Mudavadi got it. Doesn't mean that right now the table are turned. He's the president and Mudavadi is his prime cabinet secretary. So all these things, I'm telling you, in ODM, we've always had this kind of angles. Even yours truly here, Ruth. I was made a deputy governor when I had won the elections as a governor. But the party said, Ruth, we want a man, we want Nyando to become, and Raila, if you bring your sister, we're not going to vote for you. So I was asked to step down, and I did bitterly, and I was in the news all over. But I did it because of the sake of the party. So this kind of angles are ODM. ODM is not the first time, and we should not make it look. Probably because now we are not seeing the Prime Minister around and everybody is trying to make it look. ODM has had this, but we also have mechanisms of resolving these issues.
Do you think the current issues you're having right now within the party are resolvable?
Yeah.
I mean, looking at the Secretary General the attempt to oust him. We are now seeing two different vehicles, Linda Wananchi rally, we are seeing the Linda ground rally. I mean, do you think this wrangles, and again, you say there are cracks within the party, do you think they're resolvable?
Yeah, they're resolvable.
How far they've reached?
They can be resolvable, because I want to tell every one of them and all of us that the party is bigger than our own needs. And so those who have got that, the kind of idea that it is one term and it is two term, they must also look at what you're saying about one term or two term. Is it going with the values of the party and the constitution of the party and what the party stands for? We must get ourselves out of this situation of thinking that we matter and that whatever we think as individuals and the people we are carrying matters. You must, even if you're even carrying the crowd that you're carrying, you must come back down and think of the party. Yeah? We will not go with a situation where you have a situation where this is about an individual going with the party, or the other side also going with themselves and thinking that they're going with the party and they're going to whatever. We must reach a point where we all come back and sit down and take the party first and think of that as a party. And it can be done. If we can have a mediation and we sit down and put a reconciliation team together, which has been done before in these parties. It's done here. It's done in any ANC. It's done everywhere. This is a big party. And we sit down and leave our own self-egos and say that what is actually good for this party. Because both sides are not wrong in what they're saying, but they need to come back together. And then what is wrong with the other party? Because you remember, before Raila left us to go for treatment, there was this 20th celebrations. And he had even tasked Professor Nyang' Nyong'o to sit down with us and sit down and actually do a paper on social, what do you call it, social democracy. Yeah? And that was a very key thing. Because when we would have had the social democracy paper, and he said it should be presented on the 20th, and he also talked about what you call the intergenerational conversation. Because the party right now, as we are even having no very good representative of the youth in that in the structures. So we're saying that gap, the bridge, should be done by intergenerational talk. So, sorry, let me just finish.
It's all right, go ahead.
So what would happen is that we need to sit down and address all these issues and come together and talk. Because some of the things maybe that even the Sifuna is saying and the young people are saying in the party is that we don't have space. We're not having the space, and this is a party for the people.
Ruth, who is Oket Sala?
Who?
Oket Sala.
I really don't know him that well. And I am one of the people, I'm surprised that he talks and says that he knows me, he knows everybody. I think in my whole life I've met Oket Sala about 3 times. And supposedly supposed to have been my brother's friend. But I would not want to really focus on him for me. The only thing is that I feel that if at all he was my brother's friend, or son, as he calls himself, or because I don't know how it's a son, he should have been able to have the integrity that if my brother had talked to him and confided, he shouldn't be able to come out and say, my brother told him that and told him this. So for me, Oket Sala is an issue but I'd like to ask him to please give us the space as a family to be a family. And also in the party, I remember that even in the NEC we did talk that Oket Sala is not supposed to be allowed to be talking on behalf of the party because he's not a party member. And the party, I'm surprised that I keep on seeing him coming out and doing what he does. And those are the things I was telling you. We've left where ODM should be. ODM should not be having all these different colors. We could not, as a party, why would we be going out in the open and saying we are embracing broad-based? Broad-based is an arrangement for government. It's not the party. So why would we have... Before
we go to the broad-based government, Ruth, Oket Sala was supposedly seen with your brother in his last moments in India. I mean, is he really that much of a stranger to you and your family?
By the way, by the time I got to India, I never saw him. I'm the one who was with my brother when he passed away. So I became when he had already left. Whether he left because he was scared of me coming, whether he was whatever, so I would not be able to tell you.
Is he related to your family? Might you have any reports, anything from your family, anyone who knows anything about him?
No, nothing. I don't know him. And I would not want to be engaged in talking about Kesh Sala, because I only said that I was grateful because he was there, apparently being a friend to him. And my brother actually liked talking to young people, and that is something I really wish can be embraced again with the party, because he embraced the young people, and I also would want to. But I would not say much about Kesh Sala.
Do you think perhaps that the President, William Ruto, has a hand in the cracks and the wrangles you're currently witnessing within the Orange Democratic Movement?
I don't have the proof of him, but what I'm trying to say is that I would like to strongly state that any hand that is in ODM now should leave us as ODM to let us be able to sort out our problems as ODM.
But is the President, in your view, involved in some of the issues, or perhaps part of the fueling within the issues you're seeing within the Orange Democratic Movement? In your view, we've had some of the members of the party saying so. We've had the Secretary General mentioning that perhaps, there are external forces that are trying to influence the party and to throw it off. What do you think about this?
What I would like to say is that obviously, even within ourselves, I will not talk about the president, I'll blame even within ourselves, that there's a lot of enthusiasm of talking about us going to join with the president, that the Orange Democratic Party is ready to join with the president and go forth. And I think that is actually not, whether the president is also involved in it, or whether it's our people who are over zealous of going into joining with him. For me, I would like to say, because it is one of the last meetings we had at a parliamentary group meeting that we had with our party leader, Raila Odinga, where he told us that people should not go in and say about two-term, whatever. We should first consolidate ourselves. And that you had the famous saying that is saying, to who told you that we are going into that arrangement. So he was trying to talk to us that don't get yourselves into this kind of arrangement. Let us first of all get our house in order and strengthen our party, so that whoever we go to negotiate with, we go in the strong view of whether, because there's no party that is formed to become going to a marriage that you're only there looking for getting into a marriage. Every party is formed to become a party that can offer a presidential candidate. And this is not strange. ODM has always fielded a presidential candidate.
As you talk about issues on dialogue, like you say, you're not opposed to the broad-based government, but it's the timing. Like you say, there's need for, regrouping and planning and structuring within the party. But again, some of the members very strongly opposing this broad-based government has been the Secretary General, Siaya Governor James Orengo, and some of the members within the party feeling that there's an issue of ODM might just get lost within the broad-based government. And of course, we've had issues on trust. Some of them feeling we cannot trust going into a broad-based government with the president, Kenya Kwanza. Do you think you can actually trust the broad-based government to maybe to push for the interest of the ODM party?
First of all, I want to tell you one thing. Whether we have the Orengo team, as you're calling it, Sifuna Orengo team, or whether we have the team led by Wanga and everybody else, and the ODM, now I don't even know, should we call it Linda ground? Or because I don't even know who is leading ground more than anyway, whatever those two, the factions that you think that are there. Which party are you going to go with to any negotiation? Because for me, you see why I come back to party. Why I come back to you strongly on party, because a strong party that we are going to have, is where we can go to anybody. You don't need to talk about trusting. When you talk about trusting or not trusting, you're already weakening our party. You understand? We must be there to go and negotiate on probably even, ODM is a very strong party. this is the woman that everybody wants to marry. Yeah, that we should not lose sight of. And so, for me, it's not a matter of putting me in a position because I'm supposed to sit down here and say, do I trust this man because he wants to marry me? Or do I want to say, ODM, if we can have our act together, if these two factions can come back together on a table and we go out strong, I'm telling you, we are going to be able to come out and say, here we are, this is our card, this is where we are, and this is what we want. And that's why I say that even if somebody comes out in ODM, let's say from the coast, maybe even somebody from Turkana says that I am willing to become and I want to become a president. Why do we want to say as ODM that we cannot even field our president? Wajakoya stood up as a president. So ODM cannot be able to have a presidential candidate. Why? Why would we not say that? So for me, I'm saying that where the cracks are coming is those who feel they must negotiate too early and those who feel we are not going to negotiate at all, yeah? And then there's no middle ground. And this, you must have, in any way, you must give.
Ruth, considering how far things have gone right now, just last week we saw the Linda Ground rally in Mombasa.
Yeah.
We saw the Kitengela
you keep on coming
rally.
To that. Huh?
Yes, but then I tend to ask myself this question, and I believe even the audience is asking. It's already very clear there are two sides.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
Do you think there's a possibility that in any case in the future that they will come together again and form a formidable force?
Yes, they can. Because you see, everybody wants ODM. Has anybody told you they don't want ODM? Has anybody told you that I'm leaving for another party? They're all in ODM. Until you tell me that they're not in ODM, what do you want ODM to do? Not to come together and bring... I'm a mother, so whatever. Do you want to tell me that because two of my groups have gone, whatever, we should not try to see how we can bring back that house into order? Because, even if the other group goes, they're going with which party to have those people? Because I'm telling you, the ground people want ODM. The people on the ground actually want ODM.
You sound very optimistic about the possibility of the two factions coming together. Are there any efforts
I think
within,
that actually the reason why you're also asking me this is because it seems to come out like everybody seems to want a split. And there seems to be a force that is actually very out to divide and disintegrate ODM.
Who would you say is the force behind that disintegration?
I would not be able to know who the force is, but I know that there could be a possibility of a force because everybody seems to want to polarize and say that these two groups, well, I think that they are all groups in ODM, and because of the ideologies of ODM, that's why they came together. And probably the divergent views within ODM is what is making them go differently. Both are having different ideologies that could be merged, and even if within the ODM they don't agree, we always disagree to agree. That's democratic, and that is the democratic right of ODM. Let's not lose fact that ODM is a democratic movement that allows divergent views. Where I disagree is where we now want to say that people should not have, or trying to gag people. And that brings me back to where I'm also talking about that issue when it comes to, like, let's say, in a family. Like, for example, I'm now coming back to family. There's example saying, if Ruth Odinga is talking her mind and saying we should not remove Sifuna and we should talk about this, and you say, when Ruth Odinga says that, she's talking against her brother. Understand? If Winnie says her mind on a fact, then she's talking against her uncle. That is not true. We come from a very democratic family. Remember, we are all politicians.
But yet in the meeting early this month, she was conspicuously missing from the meeting.
Which
Why?
meeting?
There's a meeting that we do know was held early in the month. That's in February 2026 this year, and that was a call for supposedly by Dr. Oburu. And the reports we get is that
Winnie was there.
Ida Odinga was not there. What does that mean?
And Ida Odinga just called in. She was not well that day. And you cannot tell me that even you, when you're not well, nobody will follow you to your house.
So there's nothing to it. It's just maybe she was not feeling too well.
There's nothing completely with this because they actually talk. And that's why I say we become a public family that even if you don't see. But Winnie, Junior, Rosemary, the whole family was there. The first wife of Oburu was not also there. So that should also be whatever. But she was at home, and she said she couldn't make it back. She had a function that she had to attend.
And before we move away from Ida, what do you feel about her appointment into the UN?
Why would you want to ask me that? I think that
there's been, of course, a lot of some people even within
I think that is her personal, and I think you need to call her for an interview for that. Because like I tell you, we are a very, very independent and very democratic family because we do belong to a political family. So we are allowed to make our own decisions. And I will tell you that when it happened to me when I stood for governorship, it was very difficult because I had my cousin Jakoyo, my brother Raila and Uburu, and so they said there was too many of us in politics, and my sister-in-law, who is also an MC. And I said, I wanted to vie, and they told me, I said, but we've just gone through a new constitution that allows even women to vie. Yeah, and I am vying here, and I'm one of the only women vying. So maybe Raila or Uburu or Jakoyo, you should leave, but I'm not leaving. You understand? That's how democratic we are. And then Raila, one of the only things about my brother Baba is that he allowed us freedom to speak. He always told us that I might not agree with what you have to say, but I will always defend and protect your right to say it. And you saw me, if you ever saw me, when we had the issue of, let me just give you the recent one, when the MCAs were impeaching Sakaja, and I said that was their right. And I felt that why were they being stopped? And I said it, and I knew I was going against my brother. He didn't take it, that is a family wangle. So even right now, if I do say I am an elected leader of Kisumu County, popularly, of more than 374,000 votes, whatever. And so why would you want to gag me not to speak, if not for myself?
So you're saying despite the divergent views within your family,
that's allowed.
You still stick together?
We stick together. We are sticking together. As a family, we love each other. I respect Oburu. Actually, I grew up in Oburu's house. I'm the firstborn daughter of Oburu. And there's no way as a family I would go. In fact, right now, I look after all of them. Remember, the bridge between me and them is quite high. I'm more nearer to their children. And they all call me auntie, and I'm that auntie that makes the bridge between them. So in our family, that is not, but we do not suffer whatever. We talk as a family, and we will say our minds, and we will vie. I vied, and I am elected. So if I say what I'm saying to you right now, whether it's about Sifuna, whether it's about the politics of Kenya, you're talking to me, don't look at me and say, why am I saying this and Oburu is saying this? Oburu has his right as the party leader now. And when he even said, and we have agreed, and I want to actually also say something. In the neck, it's not Oburu who said Sifuna should be taken out. So I wonder why people say that. It is the neck members, through the chair. We have our chair, who is Wanga, not Oburu. And he didn't even vote. It is us who voted about Sifuna. You understand? So when people say Ruth is going against Oburu, Oburu has decided against Sifuna, it's not even right. We did our votes, we were as a party, and the party leader was not part of it. He was just an invited person in the meeting, because the meeting of the NEC is actually chaired by the chairperson. He chairs the one of the Central Committee, you understand? But he can come into our NEC meeting, but he can't vote on it. So
I'd like to take you back to the Linda Ground rally. There has been allegations that, there's someone who's behind the financing of the rallies. And we did hear the Secretary General, Edwin Sifuna, saying this rally is not financed by ODM coffers. Yeah. Where's the money coming from? I
asked that myself. Did you remember that in defense of Sifuna, I did ask that why are you people hitting Sifuna when he asked, because we are owed 12 billion by the government, for us ODM. And so some things that you see that are a bit far away, you must ask, where is this coming from? But probably they could be financed maybe by goodwill, what do you call them? By people who have got goodwill to the party and all that. But then, as you know, it should be transparent so that we all get to know. Because yes, there are people who can come in and finance, even from outside. We normally would have, the Social Democrats, because we are also a Social Democratic Party from England, UK can say we can finance.
So you're saying at this time it is not known where the money is coming from?
I don't know.
There has been allegations
that... You know why I'm saying that? I would be put into allegations that I accuse somebody when I actually don't also know where money comes from. That is not something I would say. But when I say I am asking, it is my right as a Kenyan to also say, and a member of the party. And that's why I told you, we need to have space.
But I tend to wonder, Ruth, you're a member of NEC. How would you not know who is financing the Linda Ground rally?
I know the money that came from the party to finance the Linda whatever and whatever happened. But any extra money that was used during the rally, and what have you, how would I know where this is coming from? But there was money, but we would finance the tent, the whatever. But any extra money that you see people having, and you also know it, there's a lot of money that is hanging around. How would I know where that comes from? I'm asking, like you asked any other Kenyan, where does that money come from? And is it right to be brought?
But you're the organizing secretary.
No, I'm not. I'm the deputy.
You're still part of the organizing?
Yeah.
You're still part of organizing for the party. How would you not know where the money is coming from?
No, I know the money that came from the party.
So there's money coming from the party, but then, as you say, there's perhaps goodwill from somewhere, and yes. you're saying you do not know where it's coming from?
Yeah, but the one I know is the one that comes from the party, which we have to account for, which we have to know and pay our members. That is the one I know.
So we're saying there's an issue of transparency?
Yeah, I have no issue of talking about that. Of the transparency and all that. That I have no issue with, because I'm a very transparent person as a person too, and I can talk about that. But what I was saying is, at this particular moment, all that you're trying to tell me is bringing me and bringing my washing my dirty linen of my party before you allow me time to bring my party together. I'm pleading that my party should be allowed for us to come together as a party and bring our house in order. You need to get mediators. Raila was somebody, as I told you, who liked mediation. So why would we not, as a party, bring our party into order? And I think that it is important for you, for me, I don't know which party you belong to, but for all of us, that ODM, being one of the biggest party in this Africa, should be brought back so that we can work together.
Let's talk about your political aspirations. I know that's probably something close to your heart. And as I can see, very much, you're very passionate about leading and being a representative of the voice of the people that you say the movement represents. What are your plans? I know you probably want to run for the gubernatorial seat for Kisumu County. Where are you with that?
I think I'm one of the best suited people to vie for this position, because first of all, being a woman and one of the first women to come out and vie. And I must tell you that actually many people mistake me and think that I have been there because of my brothers and all that, but I'm a very independent woman and I fight for my space. And I need you to one day come to Kisumu and do your independent. Don't go through these pollsters and what have you. Just come and see what I do for the people of Kisumu. I work very hard there. When they talk about governor, you need to be a CEO, an MD, and all that I've been CEOs of very big international companies. So on that side, I'm capable. I have done it. Even in Kisumu, I'm the one who brought the first performance management system in Kenya was done through Kisumu and was done through my docket as the deputy governor. Service delivery unit and all that, I've done it in Kisumu as when I was even the deputy governor. So I've got a track record and I am also willing to continue working and doing that for the people of Kisumu.
What do you feel about
But
the
at the
opportunity
moment,
for women?
at
You
the
can
moment,
finish.
Yeah, but at the moment, which party am I going to vie with? So when I see people prematurely talking about, I'm going to be the governor of Kisumu, and I'm asking them, so you have got a party? Because Kisumu is predominantly an Orange Democrat movement zone. And when when our party leader left us, he even said that in case of anything, we must do zoning, which I'm not seeing. Because at the moment as I saw it, I saw that so many, when there was this delegates, this meeting of the aspirants of UDA, we even had so many UDA coming from our strongholds and vying. So I was saying that now if I don't also fight for my party, so which party am I going to vie with? You understand? So at the moment, in my heart, is that I must fight for Orange Democratic Party to become strong back to the unity that it has. Because all this that we are wrangling about is because of us wanting the cake of ODM. And I don't want that crack. I want us to come back as one party so that we can be able to go. Then if we are one party, I tell you, I'll be a governor 6 o'clock in the morning. We will not even go for the nini. 6 in the morning.
Very confident about it. I know you mentioned that when you ran for the Kisumu County governorship, that you ended up being told to step down. What do you feel about the treatment of women who want to vie for this, very hotly contested seats, like the governorship level? Do you think there's enough equality for women being given the opportunity to lead in these positions?
Vying now has become very aggressive. And it's not about equality because nobody's going to give it to you on a plate. The only thing I always want and I wish for all of us women is that we must come back together and rally together so that we can support any woman who's vying in any position. Because if you don't do that, there's a lot of violence. And remember that the men always stick together. And they have their nightclub talks and they can be able to rally each other if there's, and get that support. And so we women need to just come out and support each other. If we do, I'm sure we can win many seats because it's very violent out there. It's very gender-based. There's a lot of gender-based aggressive. Okay, I've become...
There's aggression.
Aggression. So basically, it's also not very easy for us. So what I'd say is that women must come out, but we must come out together and strong. And we must support each other in any position, whether we align in a party or whatever. Let's not come out abusing. When you see men abusing each other, let's just come out strong. And when we do that, and I'll tell you one thing, when I was the deputy governor, I'm the one who formed the first Kenya network of women governors. And with that, we went all over the country through the help of UN Habitat, UN Women, to actually support the women that were in the executive, women in the assemblies, and make sure that they were able to be strong enough so that they could also go out and vie. And I'm still doing that, and I really am supporting women even to leave the nominated seats to get into the elective seats. So that's very important for me.
As we come to a close of this discussion, there's one very prominent question I must ask you before we go. The governor for Siaya, James Orengo, has been heard on record saying that your late brother died under mysterious circumstances. What would you say about this? Is there anything that perhaps the country does not know about his passing on? Perhaps is there anything that may have led to his passing on? Maybe individuals behind it? We just want to know.
That one is a question that I'll answer when the time comes. At the moment, I will not, because so many people have talked about it, but I think it was only me and Winnie and the doctor who were there when he died. So come the right time, I will be able to talk. Thank you.
All right, thank you. As we come to a close, tell us, which way ODM? That was our question today, in a nutshell. What's the future of the Orange Democratic?
Orange Democrats is going to go together. It's going to come together. We've seen worse situations in the political life of ODM. And these wrangles are not new to us. All I'm asking is that we must come together. And we must reach a point that we agree to disagree. And we must agree that whether it is the so-called Orengo Sifuna group, whether it's the Buru Wanga group, we are all in ODM. And let me tell you, the best, sweetest orange is actually ODM. And everybody is clamoring for ODM. Nobody should assume that if this orange cracks, that people are going to leave, and then orange is supposed to break up. And if that is the feeling anybody thinks, I want to tell them, dispel that. I will do what it takes because of the legacy of my brother Raila Odinga to ensure that Orange Democratic Party remains the biggest party. Chungwa, Moja, Maisha, Bora, Orange, tuko tayari. And we have only one color, and it's orange with a tint of blue. Thank you.
Ruth Odinga, woman representative and member of parliament for Kisumu County. Sorry, Ruth Odinga. I don't know, I'm just thinking about your sister. But Ruth Odinga, you know, thank you so much for making time. The woman representative and member of parliament for Kisumu County. Yeah. It has been lovely listening to you.
But I also believe that Ruth Odinga is an upcoming young politician.
She's been very vocal. I mean, we've been seeing her making headlines.
She takes after her father too.
Indeed.
She will, and actually, she needs to just be mentored. And I think that she is in the right age of the young people who want to come. And let me tell you, the youth must be embraced.
Indeed. They are the future, they say.
Which seat do you want?
I'll keep that to myself. It's my secret. But thank you so much for making time. We appreciate your time and making sense of what's happening within the Orange Democratic Movement. Thank you.
No, am I still on?
Yes, you can go ahead.
No, just embrace especially embrace the youth. We have to. Right. Intergenerational youth. See them all here.
Oh. That has been an interesting discussion with Ruth Odinga, who is the woman representative and also member of parliament for Kisumu County. Right now, though, we want to take a short break. We have, of course, other stories we have lined up for you. We do appreciate your company, so don't go away. We'll be back shortly.